So starting in 2019, what were your expectations coming into the business as a new agent?
Honestly, I knew enough so the reason I got into real estate is I had a friend who sold real estate years ago. And he was very successful, but he was dual career and his other career took off. So he had always told me, like, you need to sell real estate, you need to sell real estate. And I was like, I don't want to sell anything. But I learned that it was actually more about building relationships than sales. I mean, yes, at some points in time, you do have to have sales skills. But to even get to the point where you need the sales skills, you have to have relationships with people. And I was like, oh, well, I can definitely handle that part of the situation. So I knew enough about real estate to know that it was going to be really, really hard. And you're not going to most people are not going to be super successful right away. So the first couple years, I was just like, if I could ever get to 12 transactions a year or 1 transaction a month, I would be super happy. And so those were kind of my expectations for myself at that point in time.
And then 2021, 22 happened and everybody had an abundance of
Yep. So I was still new enough in the business at that point where I was finding success, but I don't think I had over maybe 12 or 15 transactions until this year, actually.
Okay.
This was my first year where I found somehow my business skyrocketed this year, and we'll see what happens next year, but it's been a great year for me. And it's just been honestly a ton of hard work, putting yourself out there consistently every single day and just keep showing up, even on the days when you're like, I don't want to show up today. There's other things I could do. Yep. There's, it's frustrating. What's going to possibly happen? And you just never know who you're going to meet or where a client is going to, I just say this year they fell out of the sky sometimes. And that was just really incredible for me to experience that. So
what do you think flipped?
Honestly, I think it's just a number of things. One, I have, like I said, just consistently put myself out there. In 2000, I'm going to say 23. Yeah. We, 3 other people and I, a mortgage lender, insurance person, and a PT started a networking group. So if you're familiar with BNI or Center Sphere, we wanted that set up, one person from each industry to come and, share their experiences of their business, how they do business, etc. But we didn't want the fees that came associated with those brands. So we created our own group, and we have about 17 members right now. We're sort of in a transition phase at this point. We have some people that are, they found great success, and so they're moving on, and maybe another person from their company is coming in to join us, or whatever the situation might be. Some people have family transitions that are happening, so they're, taking those moves instead. And that we do still charge a fee as far as every quarter we pay $50. Now that $50 might be donated to a nonprofit that somebody's involved with. It might be somebody's hosting a golf tournament and you join in the golf tournament. And so that's your dues for that quarter. Or we've also we just did in December, we went to one of Miracle at Jordan Creek and we had a happy hour. And so your dues are spending money.
Sure.
In that way. We also did Meals from the Heartland. So sometimes it's dues, sometimes it's giving of your time. It just kind of depends on how it works out. And this year I have had great success from that group. I've had tons of referrals from that group, which is just so meaningful to me that, I've made those connections and those people trust me with their own personal home purchases or sales or whatever. So
now in terms of your current business, how's it weighted, buyers, sellers, those sort of things?
This year was much heavier on buyers, but I also had more listings probably than I've ever had in a year. So I would not say that this year was 50-50. It was definitely still heavier on the buyer side.
Heavy on the buyers. Is that pretty common for somebody new coming into the industry?
Yeah. I think it's harder for people to trust you with their listings than it is, for buyers, because we can meet buyers at open houses or whatever, or a lot of, you get first-time home buyers who trust you because they don't know what they're doing at all. So, You know, and a lot of people who have bought and sold real estate before, they have a trusted person that they use as well. So it's hard to break into those relationships, even if they're your next door neighbor or your sister or your cousin or whatever. So,
do you remember that first house that you sold?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I guess specifically, I mean, first listing that you had, where did that come from?
So I can't remember which one came first. I'm thinking of two. One of them was in Indianola, and they came from an open house. And I remember sitting at their kitchen table, and I was like texting my manager at the time, like, wait, what am I supposed to check in this box? What am I supposed to put on this slide? I made my way through it, and they are great people. And I think we worked through everything, but that was one of them. The other one was a family in Waukee who I was a preschool teacher for many years before I was in real estate, and she was one of my former coworkers. And she had actually reached out to me, and she's like, we're thinking about moving. I saw you just got your real estate license. And I actually didn't have my real estate license because I had done my background check far too in advance before I actually took the real estate test.
Okay.
So it had like expired or something. I can't remember the exact details. So I was waiting for my background check to come back through, which during the 2019-20, that was kind of a thing. Anyways, and they have now, we had, worked together. We were Facebook friends, but we weren't really like friendly at that time. Now she's one of my dearest friends. We go to the gym together regularly. Nice. We hang out regularly. She has referred just this year she's referred her own in-laws to me, lots of different people. So that was a really special one as well. But I will never forget the first people who bought a house with me was the Indianola couple. And I didn't know what I was doing on the inspection process. And we literally asked for every single item and the kitchen sink. And that listing agent was so gracious with me that I am forever grateful for that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It's always nice because in this industry, whether you want to work with that particular agent or not, whether you had a bad experience, whatever, you're probably going to end up working with them again.
Yep, absolutely.
And so it's very much a business of don't burn that bridge.
Yes.
I would assume.
I always say that, what do I always say? Gosh. You are 100% right. Like, we definitely will have to work with those people again. We are always on the same team. Like, yes, we are both individually representing our clients, right? And our that's where our first priority is. But at the end of the day, our buyers want to buy and our sellers want to sell. So we cannot get in the way of that situation. And I think that's what sometimes people forget. Like, they put their own selves in the middle of that, and it's like, no, your job is to take your seller's emotions and regulate those, or your buyer's emotions and regulate those, and work together with me to get through this process. So
there shouldn't be keep all the personal outside of it.
Yes, right? Absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
Which is why sometimes you will find me kind of staying in my own zone when it comes to realtors. Like, I'm on a team. I have people that I am very friendly with, but I don't necessarily do all of the things out and about, because sometimes I think that boundaries can get blurred in different ways. I mean, yes, it's good to make friendships and those types of things, but also I think you have to, just be careful how that evolves. In
terms of your relationships with other realtors and stuff like that?
Yes. Okay. I think sometimes and I'm only watching this from afar, but you get involved in too many different ways, and then that can create issues. Create issues
or expectations that something might be easy.
Yes.
Right? Because you're so close, like, hey, let's work together, but then at the end of the day, something happens and it all falls through.
Yes.
I've had that happen myself in business.
Yes.
Just because, you were referred to me by this person, and so here, I'm saving you a little bit of money, I'm making some money, let's put this deal together.
Yeah.
And they went and bought somewhere else.
Yep.
That's a good way of looking at it. Something that you've seen in real estate in your
almost 7 years.
Almost 7 years.
Okay.
I did it again. I was just talking yesterday that whole 6-7.
6-7, I know.
Comes up. Oh my God.
comes up more than we know, right?
So almost 7 years.
Yes.
Something crazy you've seen.
Okay, this is my favorite thing to tell because one time I was showing a home in Waukee, like in a community in Waukee, probably built, I'm going to say 2017.
Okay.
And there is nothing in the listing that says anything about anything, right? And so we walk in the front door and it's like one of those ranches where you can go this way and the hallway and you go into like the living room, kitchen. But over here, there's like a couple bedrooms. Okay. So we open the one, we go in, I think it's like an office or something. Then we open the next one. There are 2 pigs in kennels in the room. Like full-grown pigs. And then when you go throughout the rest of the house, you realize that they now have like a ramp out the back on the deck so that the pigs can go outside and go and play in the yard. And yeah, it was a very interesting.
So full-grown farm, fair.
I don't know that they were that big. I think they're like, I don't know what the name is for them, but people do have them as pets and they're not quite as big as like a
fair pig.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they were definitely, I mean, a large dog.
Sure.
For sure.
Sure. Fully furnished house.
Fully furnished. Very cute furniture. I don't think it even really smelled. Like, I don't remember smelling something as soon as I walked in by any means. I think once you see that, you're like, oh, now do I smell something? I don't know. But yeah, super cute house. Beautiful furnishings.
That's funny. When it comes to working with clients and whether I guess both on the buying and selling side, but more so on the selling side because I think there's probably more expectations on the seller from a realtor.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
What are some non-negotiables when working with a client and looking to list a house? Well, whether it be from really even both, some non-negotiables from you, but even non-negotiables from a listing client.
So I guess for me, I always tell my clients, and not every realtor agrees with this, and maybe this is because I'm newer to the industry, but I feel like my clients pay me. I mean, obviously my clients do pay me. And I have very high expectations for myself. Like if they reach out to me, if I'm busy, obviously I will get back to them as soon as I can. But a lot of times that's immediately. Because if they're asking a question, they're obviously having a conversation or something is going through their head and I want to get back to them in a timely manner. So I personally find communication to be very important. I'm still at the point in my career where I work holidays, I work birthdays, I work nights, I work weekends, all of those things. I know other realtors set boundaries and I think that's amazing and that works for them. I'm also at a different stage of life where like my kids are all out of the house right now. So I have the, opportunity to work during whenever I want.
Odd hours.
Yeah, odd hours. Yes. So I think that's my number one expectation where I have found that maybe I differ from other people at this point. I think, it's important to partner with good people. So if my clients have a home that they've moved out of, I have a stager that I use who I think is phenomenal. And then I partner with photographers who I think produce good, high quality photos because where are buyers shopping? Online. What are they looking at first? They're looking at the photos. I also have, I either offer, like I pay for staging or I'll pay for either a pre-list cleaning or a pre-move or a move-out cleaning. So like if they're moving on to their next space, guess what they don't want to do? They don't want to come back to their previous home and clean it. They want to get settled in their new space. Yep. So a lot of people choose that option, especially if they're moving from one house to the other and not having, like their original home is not going to be vacant because we only do staging if it's going to be vacant typically. So yeah, I think those are some of the expectations I have for myself.
Okay, what would be some non-negotiables when it comes to, so non-negotiables or things that, sellers might not be aware of? Like, hey, this is something that we're going to do, whether it be while you're selling your home, before you sell your home, those type of things.
Well, definitely the cleaning, obviously, and the decluttering. And as I grow and become more and more experienced, I realize how much more important those things are and how much you have to push them. I would say that that's somewhere where I definitely lacked and have been able to grow and learn and explain to my clients why those things are so important. We're going to get good photos, which that doesn't really affect them much other than, the house has to be in a certain order to get those photos taken, hopefully. Right, John?
Yep.
I do enjoy doing open houses. This is also something that not everybody agrees with, but I've sold multiple homes from open houses. And whether that's clients that I've met at the open house and they've bought that house, or just they already have another realtor, but they've been through the open house and they decided that this is the house for them. So I do think that open houses are very important. Obviously, I'm not going to tell my clients they have to allow me to do an open house, but I do think they help.
One thing that I've, always told the realtors that I work with is if your clients are pushing back on, the decluttering, the cleaning, the vacuuming of the fans, moving the stuff off the counter, put that on me, right? Hey, this is what my photographer expects when they come to the door to shoot your house. He does everything at a very high level and expects that, so, put that on my shoulders. I can take it if there's, some pushback on that.
I'll be like, John will not come in if these things are not done. Yes.
Before I even look at, any of these, are there any questions or thoughts that you have for me about whether it be media that's being created, social media, anything like that?
Well, I guess a couple questions. One, do you have anything new that you're rolling out for 2026? I know you do obviously high quality real estate photos. I know are you still doing videos, agent property introduction videos? Are you still doing those? I know I tried a couple of those once and although I feel like I'm better in front of the camera today. So
on that note, I remember the first video we did. And it continues to stick in the back of my mind. And your the presence on in front of the camera was difficult to get you to relax.
Yes.
And I know I had a vision in my head of trying to, okay, this is what I'm looking for from you, and it didn't go that way. No. I think of the 15 takes we took of that one shot, I think I used one of the first ones where you maybe were a little more relaxed.
Yeah.
But one of the things, so property videos are great, and they're for the seller, they're for the agent, but they're also for the community. And one of the things that needs to happen, I think, in real estate videos is the community or the location needs to be brought into play. And so for my clients that have been with me, they will still have access to those very basic generic videos, intro, that sort of thing. But I think to get the most value out of the video and to keep somebody that's engaging with the video engaged with it, there needs to be either entertainment or there needs to be information. And leaning on the information side, there needs to be talk about the community. There needs to be talk about where it's located, what the lifestyle is going to be, those sort of things. And for that reason, I have put a new product on the website. It costs more per video, but I'm expecting the agent to be on camera. I'm not giving you an option.
Yep.
We're going to spend more than 10 minutes doing just an intro. We're going to talk through, okay, what is this house? And if there's not a whole lot special about the house, then let's talk about the community. Let's talk about where it's at. We're going to plan to be in different locations, talking about some of the benefits of that house and where it's located, because then that video lasts time.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's not just, okay, well, this realtor is listing this house and only this house. Well, now when a client's searching YouTube, or they're searching living in Waukee. Right. What can I do in Waukee? There is, now that video can show up and show, well, if you're living in this community, you're going to be close to this, you have access to this. Here are some of the things that you can expect or potentially get involved in when living in this area.
Yep. So
again, taking that, I don't expect people that are selling $150,000, $200,000 houses to do that.
Right.
But if they're selling $600,000, $700,000, $800 million homes, let's put some production value into this listing. Let's get out in the community, let's plan out the day, and let's not just be in and out.
Yep.
So taking the time to get out in the community and forcing myself not only to do those things because that's what is expected in the video, but also bringing that back and putting part of it on the realtor's shoulders. All right, well, you need to prepare for this.
Right.
Because I'm not going to hand feed you all this stuff. You know, let's not show up unprepared.
Yeah,
right.
and those
Where I'm just going to wing it.
Yes, that we should know anyways, right?
Exactly.
I think that's a great addition to your offerings, because I think that's the way we are seeing things move, even like in our listing descriptions and stuff. It's like sell the lifestyle of the home instead of just like 5 bedrooms, 4 baths, you know. So I think that's going to be, you're going to find great success with that addition. And I'm already thinking about like different properties that I have coming up that I'm like, how can I incorporate that? I think you did one for me on Broderick this year. We didn't necessarily talk about the community, but you did do some like drone videos of the community and added a little bit of that in. And I've got another one coming up in that same Glen Village area, which has so much to offer, being one of the only communities with pools out in the western suburbs. So I think that's going to be a great addition.
Cool. Haven't had much feedback on it because everybody that I've worked with to this point has the experience of all the old stuff. Yeah. Right. And I might scare somebody away with the pricing on it, but again, it's probably not going to be targeted to the, you know, $150,000, $200,000, $250,000 homes. It's available there if somebody wants to spend the money doing it. But and I have it tiered just like my photos are. Yeah. So there's that. Is there anything that you would like to see?
I think that exactly what you just said is kind of exactly what I was thinking we needed to sort of add in, is add more of that, like encompassing the entire lifestyle and community of the home and not just the basics, the bare, you know, minimum basics. Yeah.
So much of what I do and the relationship that, you know, that I have with somebody that's going the extra mile, doing the video, those sort of things is, okay, well, this is still the real estate industry. I have to I need that stuff back. Yes. Right? I need it back quickly. And putting the expectation out there, I don't have a format for each video. Right. Every video is custom done. A lot of times I'm getting asked by realtors, well, I saw this, can you do this? Well, it's not something that I can figure it out, right, but I'm going to have to go research it, test it. Did I get it right? Okay, do I have to spend money to do it? Right. Right? Is this something that I have to spend money on AI generation, not just for a single video, but for, you know, continued use? And so by adding high-end stuff into my offering, I don't necessarily have to book myself solid for 5 days during the week. If I book myself solid on one single listing on one day, I can leave a gap the next day to work on
Yes.
all that stuff. And it's interesting you mentioned that, because I was talking with another realtor just in this situation, like this, and one of their comments was about helping realtors with the media, with the water's really
good thing you're edit. Good thing you know how to
I know,
edit,
right? I just dropped the volume out on that one. But being able to, I've also thought about like a retainer model, where I am working with a set number of agents, whether it be 5, 10, 15, 20, whatever it is.
Yep.
But then I commit to them, okay, you're going to have every Monday, or you're going to have 2 Mondays a month, the first and the third, and somebody else can have the second and the fourth.
Yep.
And doing something like that, where if they don't have a listing, we're going out and we're creating something, right? We're going out into the town, and it can be a collaborative effort or the realtor's effort. If it's going to be a collaborative effort, then there's going to need to be some back and forth on, hey, here are some ideas, here's, that sort of thing. But really narrowing my focus and working with a select number of realtors, and really being able to plan my time so that I can serve them in a very high way. Right. Because quality, I think, does matter, and people do see it.
Absolutely. I think I like a number of things about how you do things. Number one, the way you think outside the box, just that piece right there, right? Number two, the floor plans. I think those are huge, and I love being able to add those to my listings. And there was a third thing, but what was it? I can't remember.
That's happened more than once by me while recording, so it's okay. It's like, dang it, what was it?
I'll think of it later.
Pause for 15 seconds. Cut that out.
Obviously, the quality of your photos is also very important. Yeah.
What have you noticed a difference in your business because of the quality of the photos? And what is it that you like about what I deliver?
I think what I like about what you deliver is that it has a much truer color that comes out in the photos. And you explained that to us one time when you came to our team meeting, what your process is with that. Because those things can be very skewed. And then not only you take it from the house to the photos, and you take it from the photos to online, and we all know that can also skew that situation sometimes, right? So I think that's one of the things I like so well, is that the photos are very clear. I feel like your photos are also not deceiving. I think sometimes photos can be very deceiving as far as, of course, cleanliness can always be hidden, right? But angles, I guess, you're not necessarily shooting from an angle where it tries to make things look bigger than they are. I feel like they're genuine.
When you look at real estate media producers, we're all using a wide angle lens, right? And so spaces are generally going to look bigger than they are because we're trying to show space. And if we tried to give a real perspective on what you're seeing, actually in the room, there would be nothing in the photos because we would have to shoot too narrow to actually show what the room is.
Right.
On the other end, there is a point that's too wide.
Yes.
Where this space looks huge and it's not necessarily fisheye, but you can definitely get too wide.
Yeah. And
there's a pretty generally accepted, a range of where somebody should be taking photos at. So as long as it's consistent across the industry and somebody is not shooting really extra wide, then the expectations from property to property, are similar.
Yeah.
Right? Well, this room looks a lot bigger, but because every room of this size looks bigger in every single photo, we know that it's not just, it's going to be a standard size room.
Yeah. Okay, I remember what the third thing was that I enjoy about your business. I truly love the website and the extras that are put together on that package when you can buy like the social media pieces, because it's so easy to go in there. Like, you already have how many square feet, all the, basics of the property in there, and we can just share that online, and it makes that process so much easier for us. Maybe right away, if we're trying to get a listing out there as quickly as possible, we have something to go. And then, as that property is on the market for a longer time, then I have the video and photos that I can then create my own social media stuff from there. But in your packages, those things that are in there, those short videos, like reels or, whatever it is, they change as the season changes. So like if your property's still on the market from, Christmas, or let's just say Christmas to spring, it'll go from a Christmas video to a spring video. Just automatically. You just relog back in and it's all done. So I do appreciate that, very much.
Good. What part of selling or buying a home do clients underestimate the most?
Well, I think right now we are underestimating how long it's going to take to sell a home. I think that sellers are still under the belief system that, it's going to be a quick process. And that is not necessarily the case right now. Whenever somebody asks me how the market is, I always say it's weird. And that's literally the only word I have for it, because I feel like houses are either selling the first day with multiple offers, or they're sitting there for 30, 60, 90 plus days. And so I think that's one thing. There was something else I wanted to say, but what was the question?
The question was, what part of the selling or buying a home process do clients underestimate the most?
I think they also, if they haven't moved in a while, they just underestimate the amount of work that it takes to get their house ready, to pack everything up, to move, and all of the pieces that go with that process. I think on the buying process too, I think that they can underestimate, since they're shopping online, and they may have been shopping online before they've even connected with me. They don't know that, photos are being fabricated, or, they don't tell the whole picture sometimes. So you might think like, oh, I like this house, but then you get there and maybe we didn't do our research and it's on the corner, or it's, not in the most desired, not exactly where you thought it was going to be located, or you get inside and it's absolutely dirty, or the wall colors are different than you thought they were online. And I think those processes can be frustrating for buyers as well, because it's like they're taking time out of their schedule too, right? To go look at the house, etc.
So how can a buyer better prepare themselves to manage their expectations if they are, in the market or soon to be in the market, not just Zillow dreaming.
Right.
I
think that's why people hire me, right? That's my job, is to set the expectations for them, to tell them all of these things that could potentially happen throughout this process. Now, in my buyer consultation, I can tell them a million things. Are they going to remember every single thing? Absolutely not. When they come to the earnest money, they're going to be like, what's the earnest money again?
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think the one thing is just knowing that things are not always as they seem online, which we know. I try to set those expectations in my buyer consultation. But if they are searching online, and a lot of times it is, hey, we were just scrolling Zillow and we love this house. Can we go look at it? So not everybody is preparing to buy a home. Sometimes it is just like a random, let's do this type of a thing that they weren't necessarily preparing to do.
Sure.
And it just kind of comes about. So
how many of those have you had where somebody, they saw something they loved, they went and looked at it, and all of a sudden they're in the market to sell their house or buy a new house?
It actually just happened this year with my neighbors. I mean, they saw a house they loved. We went and looked at it. We actually added on a few others because they were like, well, I guess if we're going to potentially do this now, let's look at a few others. We didn't end up purchasing the one that they originally liked because it was a little more high end, but it was high end finishes that they didn't necessarily care about at a higher price point. And we found something that they loved more. At a more reasonable price point, I guess. And then it was like, okay, we're doing this, and then now we have their house listed, and so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So it does happen. I wouldn't say it's the most common, but I think it can even happen with first-time home buyers. Like they're like probably thinking about like, oh, my lease is coming up, or can I even afford to buy a house? And so then they're looking online, and all of a sudden you're buying a house.
Right. What advice would you give to a new realtor entering the real estate business today?
My advice would be, do not buy into every single shiny object. If you don't know how to work your leads, do not pay for leads, because they are work and you have to be consistent at it. And you're going to have so many frustrating days. You're going to have so many what I call like gut punches, where people that you think will definitely want to work with you don't work with you. Mm-hmm. And you have to be able to just release those things in whatever way works for you and move on, one foot in front of the other. You're going to have agents who started at the same time as you who are going to find success sooner than you. You're going to find your own successes in your own way. Everybody does business differently. There's people on my team who they know the statistics inside and out of our market. Am I necessarily the person that knows our statistics inside and out? No. Do I understand them? Do I watch the videos? Do I look at them? Yes. But I have a different way of doing things than other people do. Mm-hmm. And you will have a different way of doing things than somebody else. But be your true, authentic self and do what works for you. I personally would also say to join a team as a brand new agent, because you can be an independent agent, but you are literally helping people navigate the biggest purchase of their life. And if you don't understand what you're doing, which you can take every class in the world and you're not going to understand what you're doing until you actually walk through the process a few times, and then you still don't know what you're doing, but you'll figure it out.
Right?
I mean, there's still things you learn every single day. But I personally would join a team. Now, don't give everything you have to said team lead. Mm-hmm. There are some very, what I'm going to call disturbing situations out there. But I would find somebody that like, and trust. And I would partner with them for a while so that you can understand the processes of real estate and the systems and how the business works.
What would be some key questions to ask said team lead joining that team to get information that you may not know you need?
My number one question would be, do I have to hand over my entire SOI list, my sphere of influence? Mm-hmm. Because if I do, then I'm not joining your team. That's my information. Those are my family members,
Meaning it would end up in their database.
And you wouldn't get it back if you leave. Just read your contract and understand what you're signing. I mean, they're going to want a portion of your commission. That's just how the process works. But, if you stay on the team for an extended period of time, can you negotiate that, whatever percentage or whatever it is? Do they provide training and classes and systems and processes? Do they, offer meetings, and will they, what does their process look like walking you through your first how many clients? Maybe leads are important to you. I mean, they're probably going to take a higher percentage of your compensation if they offer you leads, but they're paying for those leads. So that's, to be expected. But I would definitely ask about your contact list and how does that look. Okay.
Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
Anything additional that you have for me?
No, I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me here today. I think I'm better in front of the camera than I was back in 2021. So I'm looking forward to working with you some more this year and hopefully on some bigger projects. And I appreciate everything that you do and how you are, putting yourself out there and advancing your skills and investing in your profession as well, because I think that that's so important. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Perfect.